I feel like that
Mm.
if a ghost shows up and is like, I am the ghost of Christmas past, like the next chapter isn't when you're like, but man, he's hot. Like that you skip some steps. There's some like internalizing that you should be doing. There's like other reactions that I
Some of us
wanted.
are shallow.
Hello and welcome back to The Panelists, a bookish deep dive podcast where we take bookish genres and tropes and overanalyze them to the point that people think we hate reading, but at least we have fun doing it. It's funny that that is literally in the opening of our podcast and people still don't get it. Anyway, my name is Jaysen.
My name is Niah.
My name is Vanines.
And my name is Lizzy.
And this is a special holiday episode of The Panelists. So if you've been following along with our journey, we have been reading through the history of the romance genre, starting back in ye old times of the first ever romance books and slowly working our way to modern day. But today we are tackling our very first modern day romance, which is a Christmas themed romance in the spirit of the holidays. This is a special episode. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that we're all dressed in a festive-ish way.
All of us are.
None of us are dressed for a funeral at all.
We won't
Which
read
is-
into that.
Which is great. Today, we're going to be talking about Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. This is a book that just recently came out. It has been getting all the hype, but we're also going to be talking about the year as a whole, as well as some fun holiday-themed questions. So this is like a fun little part about the book and part about the holidays. So we're going to kick things off a little bit with an opening question about the holidays, and I would like to know, what is your best Christmas and or holiday memory, or a Christmas and or holiday memory that's really special to you? And it can be this moment right now when you just read this book and get to hang out with all of us. That could
It
be your
is not
favorite
that
moment.
one. It's
This
not.
moment was can we separate the moments? I want it to be, I want the reading of the book and then this moment where I get to celebrate Christmas with my friends to be separate things.
Yeah.
That's not my favorite Christmas moment, though.
To be clear.
Yeah, to be clear. I just wanted to know what the rules were.
Yeah.
What's yours, Jaysen? You go first. You never go first.
Wow.
I know. We're
I have a
putting you on the
very
spot.
specific thing, and unfortunately, it is kind of tied to capitalism, but that's okay.
It's
when I was,
Christmas.
yeah,
What
it
is
is
it?
Christmas. So when I was very young, I think I was like 7 or 8. I grew up with we had very, very, very little money, and we were like kind of scraping by. And at this time, the Nintendo 64 had just come out. There was no way I was getting one of these things. It was the hottest thing on the market. They were so expensive. I would go to like Walmart or Target and just like sit there and play Mario on the screen and be so happy while my mom shopped. But that was never coming home with me. So my whole family, my mom and my grandma, my uncles, my aunts, they all pulled together and got me a Nintendo 64. And it was maybe the only time in my life where I've had that moment where you open a present on Christmas and you're just like truly like flabbergasted, like can't deal with your life because you're so excited. And I still remember that as like my best Christmas. And that was all downhill from there. But that was a really really lovely Christmas. It's also like what got me into like video games, which have become a really important part of my life. So yeah, that was mine. What about you guys?
Just found out you play video games. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
You like games?
Who knew?
Yeah, learning so much about you, friend.
That's such a sweet story. I can't think of one memory. I just know all of my favorites are playing like board games with my family on the day or doing our little
Yeah.
Christmas walk. Or now when we go with Danny's family, we'll stay out till like 3 a.m. on Christmas morning just hanging out together. All of those are my favorite.
Contrary to what you are seeing if you're watching this video, I do love Christmas.
Okay.
The funeral air just happened to be an accident. I do really love Christmas, and I'm like Lizzy. Like my mom was also like super into Christmas growing up, so a lot of my memories kind of bleed together. But we have some pretty strong family traditions. We celebrate Noche Buena, so we stay up on Christmas Eve, and you wait until midnight, and that's when you open your gifts. So a lot of my childhood memories, I mean, staying up until midnight when you're a kid is like this endless, like, are we ever going to get there? I have like so many memories of us like singing Christmas carols and playing games and like having the big countdown clock and just like waiting until midnight till we could open our gifts. And all of that is like my favorite.
Okay, I think the one that I choose is we never had like Christmas trees when we were younger. And so it just wasn't like a big deal to us. And one Christmas, I think it was our second Christmas together. Like David it was like, oh, you've never had a Christmas tree? And I was like, no. Oh, aw, David's coming in. Bring me a
Dressed as a
drink right
Christmas
now.
tree?
No,
No, refilling your booze.
I'm talking about the time we got our first Christmas tree where we walked next door to the Christmas tree farm. That was in the
It'll
apartment.
never be any easier than that.
It will never be any easier.
I'll forget confused.
Thank you. I love you.
Oh my gosh. My
So
second
cute.
favorite, my wife guy.
Yeah.
The ghost of Christmas drunk just came and poured more booze.
And he was, you know what? I understand why she slept with that ghost. Okay. Because that's what the ghosts look like.
Yeah,
And you would too.
sure.
Okay.
And
You would too. Cheers.
Sorry. It's the first Christmas that we were in our apartment together. There was like a Christmas tree farm like 2 doors down, and we just walked over and we grabbed a Christmas tree and we just walked it over to our apartment, and we like did our little first Christmas tree in our like first home together. And it was really sweet. It was really nice. He got me like a custom made like ornament from like the Memphis like Metal Museum, and I still have it to this day on our little Christmas
Very
tree.
cutie.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Cute.
And he brings me drinks.
Yeah. And that's why you keep him around. The
Oh,
tree
that's
was a
why.
nice thing,
That
but
was a nice thing.
that was in the past, and the drinks are in the right now.
And then right now it's just coffee.
Sure.
There's coffee in there.
I will say my other like very distinct Christmas memory that lives in my brain consistently, like whenever I think of Christmas, I think of two things. I think of that N64 moment, and I think of this moment where, so I used to have this like very like straight stick that was obviously a lightsaber, and one time I was like swinging it like crazy in our living room, and my mom had just gotten these like very nice like lots of ridges and curvy ornaments, and there were only like 6 of them in the box. They were very special, and I absolutely swung around and hit one of them. And when I tell you, when it hit the wall, it didn't crack. It disintegrated. Like it shattered into 10 million tiny pieces. And I remember standing there just staring at the wall in shock for like a full minute, just like, my mother is going to end my life. This is it. This is my last day on Earth. And it was worth it because I beat Darth Vader. So I think it's fine.
You did save the universe.
I did. And
You survived.
she just had to sacrifice one measly ornament for that universe to be saved. So I think she got off light, to be honest with you. So let's jump in to talk about the book. Now, if you've been here before, you know that typically we talk about the history and historical relevance of the book in question. Well, Good Spirits came out like a couple months ago, so there's not like a lot of history to discuss. So today we're just going to jump right into the plot summary, and we are going to not give away too many spoilers. Later in the podcast, we probably will talk about the ending of the book a little bit because I think it warrants discussion, but I will make sure that we put a spoiler warning on that. So we're going to give you just enough information here to kind of know what we're talking about if you have not read Good Spirits. And to do that, Lizzy is going to be our bookish summary elf for the evening.
Yay.
Are you
Okay.
an elf? I thought you were like Mrs. Claus.
I am. My cosplay pieces arrived today, and I was like, I'm going to leave the wig on. It's basically Mrs. Claus.
Yeah. Our Mrs. Claus, our bookish summary Mrs. Claus. Story time with Mrs. Claus.
Oh, I love that. Okay, gather around. Okay. Good Spirits. Dual POV. Harriet owns an antique store and has a candy cane addiction, while Nolan is a ghost of Christmas past and assigned to Harriet to show her the error of her ways. He appears in Harriet's home one day. His job is to relive key moments in her life and relationships that have shaped who she is today, and then hand her off to the next ghost. Is it the ghost of Christmas present or just another ghost?
The ghost
think
of
it's-
Christmas present.
Yeah, present.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. As Harriet confronts her old wounds and regrets, she begins to rediscover the power of love and vulnerability. She knows she's not a bad person and starts to believe she was paired with Nolan to figure out his unfinished business after they accidentally relive some of his memories instead of hers. Nolan is quickly falling for Harriet and is showing signs of being alive again. While Harriet uncovers a new view of herself and what she deserves, she realizes love should be given freely. And then they do, in fact, give some love freely. But time isn't working in their time isn't working in their favor. Nolan is warned that he needs to finish his job because the consequences will impact Harriet too. However, once he completes his assignment, she'll forget him forever. The rest is for you to read, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's
And
great.
what you-
And And like I
Would you
said, we are
recommend
going to
reading it?
discuss some plot points and a little bit further into the
Yeah.
book, but we'll do that a little bit further into this podcast, and I'll try to adequately spoiler warning you when that happens, in case you really don't want to be spoilered. But also keep in mind, this is a romance book, and we know how romance books end. So we know
I
we
need more data before I
Um,
go making a decision on that.
This also was the first book that
didn't
we've
surprise
read
me.
without a kidnapping, though there are moments that could be considered kidnapping, though not
Breaking and
in the
entering.
breaking and entering. There's always a crime. Yeah. So first things first, before we get into the nitty gritty, overall thoughts. What did you think of Good Spirits?
I liked it once I stopped listening to the audiobook. I had a really rough time, like 50% through. I was like, I can't do these accents anymore. So I picked up the physical book. And then I was like, okay, this is like a cute Hallmarky movie, especially because all the Christmas movies I were watching were really bad. So this book kind of helped with that.
You didn't like his Irish accent?
He tried and I appreciate it.
Lizzy, you said I didn't like this book until I experienced something worse. But once I experienced something worse, this book seemed not that bad.
When you put it that way, you're correct.
Okay, this book was fine. This book was fine. I feel like I have, if I'm looking at it very critically, like I have bones to pick with this book. I do think that it was Hallmarky. So if you approach it that way, like the same way that you would approach like a cheesy Hallmark Christmas movie, that's like one thing. I had the opposite thing happen to me, Lizzy, where I started reading it in print copy. And when she like, yuck, and like slips and falls, and that's the opening scene, I was like, I literally cannot do this. So I had to then
That's
get
like
the
2 pages.
Yes, correct. 2 pages in, when she's on the floor, spread out, like, and this is my December. And it was like very, with love and light to my 2 white or partially white friends on this call. It was very millennial and very white. And I was just like, I literally cannot do this. So then I had to get the audiobook and put it on like 3 speed. And then it was fine.
Hey, white people aren't the only people who slip and fall, okay?
Can I share? I want to share my truth with you because I did DNF this book originally based on that too. Like I put it down and then I was like, okay, I got to come back to this when I'm ready for it. Because like I was not ready for it. I was like,
Yeah. It's like a thing too, like I was reading this because we were going to cover it on the podcast, but it is like, I mean, all books I guess are this way, but I think specifically with like a Christmassy thing, you have to be in the mood. And so like I was not in the mood to like be reading this like cheesy Hallmark thing. And so I felt like a Grinch the entire time reading it because I was like, if she doesn't shut up right now, like that's how I was reading it. And so I don't know, I was like very not in the mood. And there's like a thin line between something being like earnest and being cheesy, and how that lands for you is going to be like how that lands for you. And unfortunately for me, this kept like veering off into cheesy. And so I was like sometimes not having a good time, but it wasn't awful. Despite all of that, like it was fine.
I can't believe our summaries are there is worse.
I hate to be the outlier. But this felt like a Christmas. I mean, my expectations were set so specifically. I was like, this is not just a romance book. This is a Christmas romance. I know exactly what I'm getting and exactly what to expect. I'm like, this is going to be Hallmarky. This is going to be like cheesy. I was expecting like that like hot, sexy snowman movie that was on like Netflix a couple of like years ago. I was like, this is the vibe that I'm assuming I'm going to get from this. I was like, it's going to have something. It's going to be something about like any of the emotions that come up around Christmas for many people. That's going to be featured heavily. I was like, it's going to snow when they bang. I don't know why, but I knew it.
Lies. Lies.com.
Okay, let me speak my truth. This is what I know. And so, like, even though, like, and it's because, like, I DNF'd so, like, real fast the first time I read it because I was like, I'm not in the mood. I know exactly what this is going to be. And then the next time I picked it up, I was ready. I was prepared. And I said, I got what I needed to get out of this. And I set it down and forgot it completely. So much so that today I was like, what was that? Yeah, he was a ghost, huh? Yeah.
He was.
I was like, that was a very big point of that, huh? Like, so, I mean, it was fine. Like, it was fine.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
You know what? I unfortunately think I enjoyed this.
I had a good time
That's
while I
okay.
was reading it. I had a
but
good time while I was reading it. I will say that. Like,
But I will say I enjoyed it for a couple reasons. I think I'm not like the biggest Christmas or holiday book fan in general. And I'm also like not a huge Christmas person, believe it or not. I know I do like a lot of like Christmassy content this time of year, but I'm actually like not the biggest like Christmas person. And
Jaysen admits to being a Scrooge.
I'm more of a Halloween person, you know, and like my mom was really into Christmas. So for me, it was always like, okay, this is mom's holiday. She's going to go absolutely bonkers for this. And I'm like kind of here for the ride, right? But this was sort of like a perfect storm for me. A Christmas Carol is one of my like all-time favorite stories of all time. Even as like I grow up, I discovered things about that story that I don't really love. As I've read more, I've gone back to it and be like, oh, this is like actually kind of problematic. We just watched Muppet Christmas Carol the other night and I cried again. Like I really love the different interpretations of A Christmas Carol. I love the way that A Christmas Carol is just like, it's like Christmas but dark and spooky. And so I think that's, you know, why I love it. Like my favorite Christmas song is Carol of the Bells. Like I like dark kind of sad Christmas. Like that's my kind of Christmas. And so going into this, when that was sort of what we were based on a little bit, I was already kind of in. And then also Harriet's whole character arc is that she is like a people pleaser who kind of lets people walk all over her because she doesn't want to get into a conflict and she just wants to make people happy. And she has a really hard time like doing things for herself. She kind of just like does everything for everybody else because that's just the person she is. And I felt really represented by that. She also slips and falls a lot, which also I felt really represented by. No, but
she's also white.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, exactly. Which, and you guys don't know this, but like, it's rare that we get a book with a white main character. So it was like weird for me to feel so represented in a book.
That was really good. I thought that was like that. Was really important.
That was like a nice change of pace. No, I also the only thing I didn't really love, like, yes, there's a lot of cheesiness. I think the book is pretty predictable. I will say, going along with like how I loved A Darker Christmas Story, and I'm not going to spoil it right now because I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but I will say, you know, this is a romance book. Romance books have happy endings. I kind of wanted it to be tragic. I wanted the ending to be tragic. And it wasn't, and that was like a miss for me. And I also feel like the book is like longer than it should be also. Like it just goes on a bit too long. And it's about straight people, which I don't know. I didn't love that. So those were my like little gripes, but I did give it a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed
comments. I can hear the comments responding to all of this, being like, why are you reading romance books if you want them to be tragic? And why are you reading straight romance if you want it to be gay?
Sure. I mean,
if we like, that should show how much we like romances to be happy and like, you know, like lovely.
I mean, I went into it knowing it was going to be a happy ending, right? Like, don't get me wrong, that was the expectation. But when you get to that point where there is a moment where the story could end in a really bittersweet, like beautiful, tragic, but bittersweet, not like tragic, but like bittersweet. There's a moment where it could end in this like really bittersweet way. And that's where I wanted it to end. And then, you know, it went on to be like a romance book, which is fine. That's what it is. And I went into the book knowing that's what it was going to be. But I feel like if it had ended like 5 pages earlier, I would have liked it even more. So I will say that. But yeah, I enjoyed this. And also, I will say it was also like a really nice change of pace. I've been reading a lot of like pretty darker fantasy this month. And so it was nice to read something a little bit lighter and to use a term we love, a little more brain off, like a little more just like along for the ride, not stressful, like could just kind of sit back and enjoy. And so, like I said, it was kind of a perfect storm for me. I don't know that I would always enjoy a book like this, but it was the right scenario for me to enjoy a book like this. So yeah,
that's how I felt too, honestly, where I was like, this was perfect for what it was. I enjoyed it, and then I put it down and I walked away.
Yeah. We kind of discussed this a little bit. What are your thoughts on seasonal holiday romances? And that can be, you know, Christmas romances, it can be Halloween romances. They're very interesting, like, subgenre. What are your thoughts? Do you typically enjoy them? Do you seek them out? Do you avoid them at all costs?
I love Halloween romances. I love a spooky little Halloween, like, romance, honestly. Christmas romances, not usually as much, but I do enjoy Halloween more than Christmas. I'll say it.
Yeah.
It just feels more like a production to me than Christmas. What other types of, like, I get Halloween and Christmas.
Yeah, I've
like
seen Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving romances. There's that one about the were turkey.
Wait, what?
Yes. That one.
Did you say? Did you say were turkey?
Yeah, Taken by the Were Turkey.
Why didn't
it's
we
a
read
romance book.
Okay.
There's like New Year's romances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
believe you.
I don't feel like I seek them out. I prefer
Mhm.
media in general that I associate with holidays. Maybe there is a holiday in it, but it's not a holiday specific.
Themed,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's like,
Kind of like a Little
oh,
Women.
yeah, like there's Christmas in it, and I associate this with Christmas, but it's not a Christmas movie or a Christmas book. I feel like that is probably true about me, but also, I don't know, my favorite kinds of stories are ones that I can like revisit. There's something so specific, like I wouldn't read a Christmas romance in March. So it's not like something that I'm actively seeking out. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's just not something that is like really in my reading at all.
I enjoyed it because it was different, and I normally don't pick up Christmas romance, but the Christmas romance, I love movies. That's where I get all my Christmas romance. So this was one of the first books.
The reason I asked that question is because I feel like I see on Book Talk and Bookstagram like October with like horror books, right? But like there are people who make their entire December TBR like winter romances or winter books or things like that. So I was just curious if that was any of you, which it is not. So there we go. How do you feel about the dynamic between these two main characters? So we see Harriet, who is like, she's having a stressful time. She's trying to please everybody. And then we have this ghost that shows up that is this hot man who's just trying to do a job. How do you feel about their dynamic as a couple, as a leading couple? And did your feelings about their dynamic change throughout the book?
I felt like a job wasn't the only thing he was trying to do.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
That is correct. I think that my biggest like sort of problems with this work were primarily like plot things, I would say. Like there's a way that this is just like, I don't know, like la la la, la 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 through the plot that I think could have been done better, specifically because I do think that BK Borison is doing interesting character work. Like there's ways that like the character chemistry is there, but I almost didn't think that was the case because she rushes it too much in the beginning. I feel like that if a ghost shows up and is like, I am the ghost of Christmas past and you fucked up your life, like the next chapter isn't when you're like, but man, he's hot. Like you skip some steps. There's some like internalizing that you should be doing. There's like other reactions that I wanted.
Some of us are shallow.
Yeah, and this character is. This character 100% is. And so then it wanted me to care about like the stakes of like the past and the hauntings and like the soulmate stuff, but it's shallow. You can't do both. Like either you're gonna be like, this is shallow, or also this is about your life and your life is on the line. And was kind of trying to do both, and it didn't do both very well. So I didn't super love their dynamic in the beginning. If you're gonna do like that instant burn thing without the balance of like actually reacting to the things that are happening around you, that kind of sets the characters off badly. But I do think that BK Borison kind of understands character chemistry and some of the banter as well. So they kind of grew on me at the end. I do think that the main female character is a little too flat for me also. She's just like a good person, and that's kind of it. Like it hits a very one note thing of like, she's just a good person, and that was a little boring to me, but I don't know. Like, again, this is all like 3 stars, shrug. It was fine to me.
Have you read anything else by BK Borison?
No.
I agree with you though. I've read a couple of other things by her, and she does really good like character work. Like I think I've read like 2 or 3 other books by her. I've cried in every single one, even when they weren't like my favorite thing in the world. Some of the like dynamics and the like chemistry and the banter and like the arcs that the characters go on, like it's just really, it resonates and it really like hits. So I'm not surprised to hear that you felt like her character work was like one of the strengths of the book overall.
I kind of wanted a little bit more growth from him, because I do like that her journey with being a people pleaser, that it just came to her liking herself of like, no, I don't actually need to change this. This is something, I like the softness in me, but I do need to change my perception of how I view previous memories. I really like that. But I didn't have that feeling with him so much. I also, this is just a preference because ghost romance is what got me into the romance genre. I like when there's yearning, because in most ghost romance, they can't like physically touch. Yeah, and this one was immediate, but I do see why it works for this book specifically.
I mean, he was
I
a
think I
very
just want
physical ghost.
more.
Like,
he's
like,
just basically a person walking
yeah, he's
around.
basically just a person.
He's like, I'm here to haunt you. And those ugly pajamas are doing something to me. Like immediately, he was all about it. He's like, those legs, baby. I guess we got to go into the past or something. Like it was very.
But Lizzy, I agree with you. I kind of did wish he was more ghosty. Like, I wish there was more. I wish they played around with that more, because there are things about like ghosts and the lore of ghosts that, you know, make stories like this interesting, that make stories like A Christmas Carol interesting. And from the moment we meet him, he really is just like a guy with some
you kind of
powers.
forget. Yeah, he just pops
You
up.
know, when he wakes up in the middle of the night after having a dream and he is, you know, like full upright and attention, I was like, okay, he's not even a ghost. Like, at this point.
Wait, just... He also has a full-time job with like PTO.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
He has a full-time job. Like he has to show clock in, clock out. Like he has a whole office. He has a boss. His boss has a boss. Like they have performance reviews. I was like, what? He is just a dude.
It felt a little gun shy on sort of like full sending the ghost thing, because even the things like, well, he can taste food, but not that well. So it's like she was like half playing with like what made him ghosty. It was just a hot guy that could appear in her living room and it not be that bad. You know, like that's the character that she made.
But for
it's
romance
breaking
novels,
and entering, but fun.
But fun.
Which, I mean, she could have done that anyway with a romance book. I mean, kidnapping and
correct.
like it's always fine.
It's
if they're
always
hot. If they show up
there.
in your house, it's okay.
It was like a 50% commitment to the ghost bit.
And that's interesting because I wanted to ask, we already are kind of like leaning into this, but I feel like there is quite a bit of world building here, but then there's like a hesitancy to like actually get into that world, like to really go full into that world. And so that was kind of my next question to you guys is like, how do you feel about the world building? We like the characters to a degree, we like the banter, but like she goes in depth creating this basically corporation that like sends ghosts out to do this all year round. Like it's a whole operation. And so there is like some substantial world building here, but like does that world building work for you? And do you think it pays off to do as much like groundwork to build all of that up early on in the story?
I think it will physically pay off for BK Borison when she does another book in the series and does a series of books here.
It is a series,
and sometimes I'm reading a book and I'm like, oh, this author is like setting themselves up to write another book. And that's what it felt like. It didn't really feel like it felt like world building to serve like a purpose that we know not yet what it is.
It's going to be his boss or something, isn't it?
I think it's going to be
she was like
it's going to be
staring at
Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future, I assume.
Yeah,
but she did so much with her, like with the his boss, like finding a magic. In her shop and something like that, and like left it in the shop. It was a while, I think I remember, where she was just like staring at it. She was like confused by the conversation. She wasn't paying attention, and she was like, no, I won't take it, and then glanced back over her shoulder and was like, but maybe. And so it was like a whole thing where I'm like, maybe this is, I don't know.
I think it's going to be her. I also just remembered there's a point when his boss mentions that the oldest Reaper or something is back to walking the earth. I thought that was going to tie back in. Unless that's another book.
Later. Yeah, that's going to be another book.
Okay.
Yeah. That's called foreshadowing is what that is.
I just thought
write that down. Let me write that down.
or as the young kids like to call it, a plot hole. No, baby, that's just foreshadowing. Oh, Lord.
I feel like the world building, I love like the concept is like a micro tropey sort of thing of like thing that you have heard about before is actually like a secret corporation or like some kind of well-oiled machine or like that kind of thing is really interesting to me. I don't think that this was necessarily interested enough in any of that. Like it gave us enough, I guess, to put like these flimsy walls around this plot, but all of the magic is just like pretty flimsy. Like it very conveniently shows up. I don't know.
The magic has a personality somehow, or something.
Yeah, that too.
Like it seems like.
I don't know. There's a lot of it that's just shrug, and it kind of really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, which is not my favorite kind of romance. Like, I feel like you either need to center the romance and not be so concerned with like filling in like stuff and trust the readers and trust your romance to like carry the plot. Or if you're going to be filling in all of this world building stuff, give it enough attention so it doesn't feel like just conveniently showing up. And this again didn't commit one way or the the other to
Yeah.
to any of those things. So I wish it had done a little bit more. I also thought it was really funny that if you have no concept of what a Christmas Carol is, you're just going into this and going, what? Like there was no true, like, I don't know, like understanding of why this guy was there. Or, like she was just like, I'm the ghost of Christmas past. And you're just supposed to know what that is, which I guess most people do, but I thought that was pretty funny.
It's a pretty well known.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
like I feel like the amount that they used
Jaysen,
it to
you just
me.
said people literally don't know what foreshadowing is.
I know, but
like we just talked about it, and I know what you're about to say.
I just feel like it's such a well-known story that's been remade so many times. I feel like at the very least people know that there are like 3 ghosts. Maybe sometimes I give people too much credit, and that might be this situation. Right now, that's possible. Okay, so a little spoiler warning. I do want to discuss the ending, so if you are listening to or watching this, feel free to skip forward like 5 minutes. I quickly just want to ask, what were your thoughts on the ending? I already kind of shared mine. I sort of wanted him to be gone forever and for her to move on, remembering him and making her life better for herself. And he's like a sweet memory. But that's not how romance works, unfortunately, because y'all want to have happy endings. So
wow.
I wanted to cry, but no, you guys want to have spirits together forever.
You're doing this to yourself when the comments start rolling in, Jaysen.
Like that would be
it.
a romantic story, but not a romance.
I know. I love it. I just think there was a way to make it like bittersweet, but still beautiful. Like maybe she still has the compass,
They
and
both got
then
hit
maybe.
by a bus.
But
she
then-
tripped over a candy
Yeah.
cane.
At one
and then
point, I
meets
thought
her
that
in
maybe he
the-
was going to like inhabit a cat, and then she was going to like adopt a cat that she discovered was him or something like that. And I thought that could have been like cute and fun.
Now
but
it's a
no.
ship for romance.
Yeah, which I'm here for, but whatever.
I thought the ending was lackluster, but I thought the plot overall was sort of lackluster, and so I wasn't shocked by that. It just sort of seemed like an afterthought. Like it was like, and then he could go back the entire time. He could always go back. He was just waiting for her or something. Like, what? Why did you wait till Christmas? He's been here 100 years. Like, what do you mean? Sorry.
Well, they had to meet, and they had to go. They had to make snow. And
She's like 30.
And he had to find. That is true. He had to find
I'd be kind of
his
pissed
compass.
if you knew where she was the entire time. People get married young sometimes. What do you mean I had to wait until she was, I don't know. It was just kind of like.
Saddest?
Well, she had to be old enough
Like,
to
she wasn't
settle.
even-
So I think.
Like a house?
Like if they met too young, she'd be like, oh, he's like, there are plenty of ghosts in the sea. But then when she met him now, she's like, oh, yeah, this is my ghost.
I do
Yeah.
respectfully disagree. Well, actually, she would have known there were at least 2 other ghosts out there. So never mind. That's true.
Yeah, and to be fair, she did not wait to see how hot the other 2 ghosts were, which I think
She
is
didn't ask about them.
yeah, which is crazy. I would have been like, oh, let's just see this out.
If this is past, let's see
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, I do want to see what the other ghosts look like. And Ghost of Future is always like a little bit darker, huh? Like dark and broody, maybe?
Yeah,
No?
maybe. I like the ending in theory, in terms of, because, right, you're reading this and you're like, okay, he's a ghost. He has to go away. He's 50% ghost. He has to go away. So I was like thinking about what the mechanic here would be to like bring him back around. And so in that way, I liked the idea of like, oh, I don't know, fated and life after life, and he was waiting for her. It just doesn't work as well here because nothing matters and the plot is flimsy. And so by the time you get to that, you're just like, okay. It felt a little like kind of out of nowhere. It felt a little flimsy, but in theory, it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, I
Lizzy?
knew I wanted them to be together. My favorite moment in the book is when she's chanting to herself to not forget him.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so I
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
wanted a little bit more suspense because it's almost immediately she wakes up, remembers him, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
She didn't even have enough time to do her laundry or like
Yeah.
like before she forget, like let alone forget him. Like you didn't have enough time to like do anything, girl. Like
Yeah, and then even her like coworker remembered him, but that was my favorite part. I was like the most memorable. And then I just knew whatever solution happened to get him back. I was like, whatever happens, he's going to come back.
It actually, if he had come back like way, way, way after Christmas, like on Valentine's Day or something, actually that would have also been kind of like better.
A little
It's
time
also like
in
the
between.
like sort of anticlimactic in the sense that like he leaves and then we just join him again and he's like literally sitting in a waiting room and he's like,
Yeah.
so what now? And they're like, well, now this, and then it's like, cool.
And her dead aunt is there.
I'm really trying hard not to lose it because that's actually hilarious.
That's actually what happens. Like there's
I
no
know,
sense of like,
I know.
The
I don't
cat
know.
shows up and they're like, yeah, so we've known this whole time.
yeah, and they're like, so this is, and it's just like kind of expositing to him, and he's just been sitting in a waiting room for some undisclosed amount of time, and it's just kind of like, well, you could have done this a little more dramatic, like have him like clawing back from death moment or something, but no, he's literally just in a waiting room, like la la la, and they're like, surprise, you get to live.
And it took a while because of paperwork.
Yeah,
like, basically.
yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because as we talk about this, I remember in a previous episode we talked about how we don't really like the third act breakup because they don't really do anything between that breakup and them getting back together to like it like is always so rushed that they don't really like earn the getting back
Yeah.
together. Like it doesn't feel earned. And I feel like this is kind of in that same realm. They break apart and then get back together and it's so easy and simple. It's like, why
It's
did we
barely-
break apart in the first place?
It's barely a break though. It's like a little
Yeah.
crack.
He should have left
Mhm.
sooner. I would
It's
have
like he
even
didn't
liked to be
text
left
for a while.
sooner. Yeah.
Which he ghosted her, haha. Several times throughout the. Actually, I'll let myself out. I'll see myself out. But he did, like, he was like kind of a jerk to her several times throughout the book, and he's like, because I was brooding, and she's like, don't do it again, and then like that was more stressful and like big than the breakup at the end or him leaving at the end. Truly.
2 more quick questions, and I want to move on to some fun Christmassy questions to end out our special Christmas episode. First one is, would you recommend this book to someone new to romance? Why or why not?
No, I don't think so.
I just saw Niah like slowly shake her head and come to the conclusion that no, in fact, I would not.
Well, it's not that I wouldn't recommend this book because I have recommended this book actually because like I think it's a very like especially compared to like some other Christmas books that I have read, like I think this is a good like fun little like Hallmarky like time truly. But I think recommending a Christmas romance to someone who is new to romance as like the first sort of like dipping your toe into the genre, I don't think it's a good representation of the genre as a whole. And I don't think it would be something that I would be like, hey, you're brand new to this thing. Read this thing that is a very niche, like watered down, not even watered down, but a very niche specific like version of romance. So
The only person I would recommend this to is a
my worst
non-reader.
enemy. Sorry.
Yeah, my worst
No,
enemy. This was fine. I'm not hating.
No.
The only kind of person I should say I would recommend this to is like a non-reader who binges like Hallmark Christmas romances
Yep.
at the
Yeah.
end of the year. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you
Mhm.
like Hallmark movies, but you don't read? Like, try this. I think you will like this. That's who I would
Yeah.
recommend it to.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It depends on the person. And if they were like, yeah, give me something that feels like Hallmark and it's seasonal already, I would recommend this.
I also don't think I would recommend for someone new to romance, but I think that's more because I agree. I think you have to have a very specific person that somebody's like, I think I'm going to try reading romance. I'm like, well, what about Christmas? What you want to read a Christmas romance? But like if Mrs. Claus showed up at my door and was like, I need a
Yeah.
rec, well, girl, I got you.
Butcher
This
and
is the book.
Blackbird, baby.
Yeah.
Can
Well-
On audio. Only
Can
on
I
audio.
interest you in Pamela
Yeah,
or
right.
Virtue Rewarded?
That does beg a
Claus would love
question.
that.
And I don't know if you're prepared to answer this, but what is a romance book you would recommend to someone new to romance?
Actor age Eve Brown, Lord of
That's a
Scoundrels,
Good one.
The Geographer's Map to Romance.
Oh.
I mean, I have a list. Like, I'm not even joking. I'm like looking at my shelf, and I'm like, there's so many that are like very just like sweet little like tastes of the genre. I think.
I think that my answer depends, like, if they're new to the genre, but they're readers, like, that is informed by what genre they're coming
Oh.
from. You know what I
don't know any
mean? Like,
non-readers.
that's what I'm saying. If they're readers,
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
read other genres, like, depending on what genre you're coming from. I love Tia Williams.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I can't. Yeah.
Yeah,
So good.
I got in through historical romance, and I think that is like a really good door to come into, like Regency romance or whatnot, like something in there. So I don't know. It depends.
Yeah, it depends on the reader. I've in my like life with friends, I've recommended 7 Days in June and You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. More cozy,
You
the
made
witches.
full of death with your beauty.
Yeah, I love that one.
I did
It's
too, but it's
messy.
so messy.
It
It's
is so
so
messy.
messy.
Bro, yeah.
Yeah,
This is for
yeah.
the friends that like
Wow.
reality TV.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
What's the cozy witches? I'm blanking on what it is.
The secret, not
the-
the very
yes,
secret
yes,
society
Society,
for
yes.
irregular witches.
That one, or
Yeah.
like the Half a Soul for just like a little cozy read.
For like general crowd pleasers, if I don't know anything about a person, I'm just like, here's a general sort of like romance book that is, it can be everything to everyone, which is hard.
Yeah.
Like, that's a hard one.
In contemporary, I really like Alicia Ray. I think that she writes like really interesting contemporaries that also have like other things to say and have like good supporting character work as well. So it's like has broad appeal sort of outside of just like the romantic relationship.
I'm gonna think about the question, Jaysen. But
Yeah. Well, I just figured that would be. See, I thought that would be a comment. As soon as I said, "Would you recommend this for a new romance reader?" and we said no, people would be like, "Well, what would you recommend?" So I was like, "Oh, that's a good question."
I love that we just hear the voice of the commenters.
I really do. I noticed that none of you recommended People We Meet on Vacation, which I think is weird because that is the only romance book that's ever existed. So
can we talk about People We Meet on Vacation?
no, we'll talk. We'll get to that eventually.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm sure eventually we'll have to read. What's that author's name?
Emily Henry.
Emily Henry. I'm sure eventually we'll probably read an Emily Henry because she's like one of the most talked about romance authors of the current day.
Yes,
so I feel like
sure.
we will eventually read an Emily Henry. I've only read a couple. I'm sure that will come up. So look forward to that in the future when we read Emily Henry. Final question.
What would you
for me?
Jaysen? Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, I don't read a lot of romance. So that was like the point of this podcast was for me to read more romance and to kind of like start from zero and kind of work my way up and learn more about it. But one of my all-time favorite books ever is a romance. It is technically YA, though there are aspects of it that border on new adult, but it is a YA book and it is very queer and it has what I was talking about where it is a happy ending but also very bittersweet, which I really love. Like I don't love like a perfectly happy tied with a bow ending. I like a little mess, a little open-endedness at the end. And so for me, it will always be Ander and Santi Were Here, one of my all-time favorite books. I recommend it all the time. It is a beautiful, lovely love story. It is insta-love, which I know a lot of people don't like. I love it, and I think it's very earned in that book. I just adore that book too. It's by Johnny Garzavia, and I love it. And it is I think, the book that I will always hold as like what I want from a romance book. Like the characters have so much chemistry. They feel so real on page. I love watching them fall in love. It is topical. It deals with like some modern day things that are going on in the world with immigration. And I love that it has a happy ending, but it is not tied up like a bow. It is a little messy, but it is still a really beautifully happy ending. So for me, that is like my gold standard when I think about like a romance book. I just love it. I love it so much. So
what's wrong with insta love?
Some people don't think it's believable because some people don't feel instantly. They don't feel insta love. They don't meet people and instantly feel like that. Oh my gosh, I just really like this person. And so if you've never felt that before, you might not find it very realistic because you've never experienced that before. And I think that's where a lot of people come from when they don't like insta love.
I think also too, like with like a lot of tropes, or at least this is the kind of reader that I am, and I know there are people like this. So when people ask me like about favorite or least favorite tropes, I have preferences, but it is about execution. And I think insta love is like one of those things that is easy to get wrong, because like if it's all like my least favorite like version of insta love, and I do like insta love because I am an insta love person. I fall in love with everybody that I meet. Like I'm at the airport, like I love you, and I that's the kind of person that I am. You look at me, and I'm like, is this something right now? Like
first time we met.
So like I get that. Like I'm in for insta love, but I think writers have a tendency to sort of like over lean on like the tingles that ran up my arm, like things that are very like ephemeral or like yes, like hey, why is your scalp tingling every time you see him? Like there's got to be a better way to
that
explain
is lice.
this. Yeah.
That is lice.
So I just think it's an
Seek help.
execution thing. Like if it still has to be earned, even though it's like immediate
Mhm.
or instant. And so
For
I think
sure.
too many times like insta love is not earned, and that's kind of where people are like, boo, like don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally
I feel the same way about miscommunication, actually, where I'm like,
Yes.
it's because it's very easy to get wrong,
Yes.
you know?
I don't think I've ever read a book with miscommunication that I thought that I liked, that I thought did it well. Every time I read it, I'm just like, just talk to each other for 3 seconds. 3 seconds is all it will take. Oh, but I can't because I'm the king and he's the Duchess of tennis and we can't possibly discuss that. Just talk. Oh my God. I hate that trope. See, I feel about that trope the way a lot of people feel about insta love. Okay, last
And
question on the
that's fair.
book. Out of 5 stars, what would you rate it?
3.
3?
I gave it 3, yeah.
I do 3.5 because I did actually, again, had a good little time, like
Yeah.
after the initial DNF.
I gave it a 4 on Goodreads. I think if Goodreads had half stars, I would have given a 3.5 or a 3.75. I think it's like a low 4 for me. But I did enjoy my time with it for sure. Like I thought this was fun and cute and it hit a lot of notes that I enjoyed. So I think we could have read a lot worse Christmas book. And so the moral of the story is it could have been worse. And that
I will say, I do like recommend Business Casual by BK Borison if you are like looking for a BK Borison book that you might enjoy a little bit more.
I
that
do
think,
want to
like,
read
really leans into
more.
their strengths.
Well,
Yeah.
for sure. I really want to read more. I want to read more outside of like the Christmas thing. And I actually want to keep BK Borison in my back pocket for a specific mood. Like I know exactly the mood I will be in to be like, you know what would hit right now? A BK Borison book.
BK Borison.
It wasn't today when I was speed reading this to like get to
Yeah.
the recording of this podcast, unfortunately. But alas, here we are. We do what we got to do.
Yeah. So just to be clear, some of us did even a little bit enjoy this book. So
Yes.
for those of you who watch this
cute.
podcast and say they never like anything, just know that we did kind of sort of like this book.
Yeah.
So
But also,
So
no,
shut
there will
it.
be other books
So
that we
zip it.
dislike.
yeah, but and someday we might even read another book that we all like. I wouldn't hold your breath, but it might happen.
2026. That's the year.
That's our year. Okay, some questions to wrap up the year for 2025 before we head into the new year. Did you have a favorite read or favorite reading moment of the year? Or both. It can be a favorite read or a favorite reading moment.
I've still got time.
I know.
Well, up to this point.
In my head, I'm still going to read about 20 more books before the end of the year. So
I think you got it.
I think I got it too. Watch we go.
I think I'm going to read 3 more, and 2 of which I started today. So I think I can get through 3 more before the end of the year, and then I'm going to call it quits.
Okay. You're saying that's enough.
Yeah. Then I'm just going to rest until January so I can like reboot a little bit.
That's a
I
good
do think I'm
plan.
going to read like 15 books before the end of the year. I'm not even joking.
I'm not even joking
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
doing one.
yeah, I think I've got 15 in me.
Mrs. Claus, you have lots to do. You're busy this time of year, okay?
I'm
Um,
sorry.
My favorite reading moment is when we decided to do this podcast.
Highlight of
counts?
the year.
Yes.
It was
Highlight
really
of-
lovely.
fun.
We were on a bookish trip. We were in a car together. We sort of had this crazy idea, and we were just tired enough that we steamrolled it into being like, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Like,
When we were ordering Pamela all in the back of the Uber, I was like, oh, this is happening.
favorite book
And
or
it's
favorite
not a
reading
cop
moment?
out. You might think that it's a cop out because I couldn't think of anything else, and that's not it.
The one that keeps coming to mind, and probably because it is romance, I would say that it is romance and romance adjacent, is The Everlasting by Alexi Harrow. I think it was also like
Oh.
I was thinking that too, actually.
yeah, I really, really loved it. And I think it was a good reading moment because I had a couple friends who had read it and loved it. And so they were like kind of like nervous for me to read it and, you know, like quietly waiting in the wings. And I started reading it and I was kind of like, oh, it's fine, I guess. But it just hit this moment that it all came together for me. This was such a rough reading year for me overall that I didn't have many experiences like that where I was just in a book and like thinking, oh, this is like working for me. And that one really worked for me on all cylinders. So that's a recommendation for a non-romance reader coming from fantasy that I would be like The Everlasting by Alexi Harrow. So that
Such
one's
a good
definitely
book.
going to be in like my top 5 of the year.
I'll have to try reading it. I've seen a lot of people that I really respect and trust talk about how much they love that book, but I've only ever read one Alexi Harrow and I didn't love it. So I've kind
I've
of been
hated
putting it
everything
off.
else that I've read by Alexi
the one
Harrow.
that's like witches, like the 3 witches of Oh, I can't remember what it's called, but I didn't like
Did
that
you
book
guys
at
do
all.
Starling House
I
with
didn't.
Alex
No.
Hero? Oh, Starling House. I was like on Alex Hero, and then I read the like short story that
Yes.
that they put out, like that I guess was based off of or had something to
Yes.
do with like the Everlasting. And I was like, oh, like maybe I should give them a try. And then I read Starling House, and I loved Starling House. But I read it like I think twice in the same year. Like, and I don't usually do that for like books when it first comes out. Like, I just give it a minute. But I love that one. But the Everlasting was amazing. Definitely made like them an instant buy like author for me across the board. Yeah.
Ooh. I'm going to end up
Interesting.
reading it
Okay.
because of you
Yeah.
all. My favorite books this year, I think, were because of you guys. When we were all in LA earlier this year, you recommended to me The Adventures of Amin al-Sarafi, one of my favorite
Yes.
fantasy books.
Good book.
Jaysen recommended
book.
Kings of the Wild. Loved that book.
Good book,
Cried at
yeah.
the end. Great book. I read Murderbot Diaries this year, which was really good, and Project Hail Mary. But I think like my favorite reading moment was actually just being completely flabbergasted reading Pamela. Like
Yeah.
I was laughing.
It was a fever dream.
It was a
Closet
fever
scene
dream.
with kidnapping. I was like, what are we doing?
Him like sneaking into her room and into her bed.
I filmed my reaction to some of those because it was so much.
So I'm trying to put together my top 10 for the year because I'm going to be doing a YouTube video about it. And there are two books that are currently tied for first place. And I'm really trying to figure out which one is going to get that top spot. And those two books are The West Passage by Jared Pasacek, which I've talked about before. It's like a dark fantasy. It's kind of, I really dove into dark fantasy this year, and that has easily been my favorite. It's one I think about all the time of just how cool and different. But it's also like a book that I don't know who I would recommend it to because it's like a very unique book. I think it's kind of like Gideon the Ninth before Gideon the Ninth got popular. I feel like that is a hard book to recommend to people because you really have to like engage with it to like enjoy it. And a lot of people don't want to engage with books on that level. They don't want to have to like really sit there and like piece together this world. And I think that's why I liked that book so much. Is it felt like a book that was never going to be a popular book talk book. And it felt like this little treasure that I found. And I loved that. And my other favorite book this year was My Friends by Frederick Bachman, which I just adored. I cried basically on every page of that book. And it's weird because it's not like a tragic, I mean, there is tragedy in that book, but it is actually a pretty joyful, hopeful book. But I cried on every page and I loved it so, so much. So those are my two like favorites. And probably when I think about my favorite reading moment, I feel like I'm actually experiencing it right now because I told you guys I'm reading through the Skandar series. And I really just love it so much. It's so good. It truly I said this on the last episode. I hate to invoke J.K. Rowling's name and I hate to talk about Harry Potter because I think there are so many other books out there to compare books to. But truly, I have not felt this way about a middle grade fantasy since I was a kid reading those books for the first time. Like it has really hit this nostalgia note, but also it just feels like such an evolution of that kind of story in so many ways. I've really adored reading them. They are so lovely. So I have just loved those. And I agree with Niah. I'm really glad that we decided to do this podcast and have a reason to chit chat with each other about books all year round, even though we often read things that are about kidnapping. So
Can I?
I didn't know where that was going to go.
Can I add another favorite reading moment and a favorite book now that I've thought about it? The River Has Roots.
Yes.
Is one of my like
So
I don't know if it's
good.
my favorite of the year, but it's like a way up there. I absolutely like adored it. It was just it was so good. Like literally, like it was one of the most amazing like books I've ever read. And the audiobook.
The
Like,
fantastic.
oh my
It's
God,
fantastic.
the audiobook is
Yeah.
just blew me away, like without a doubt. And one of my favorite reading moments, even though I had to look up the name of the book, I really loved, like last year, one of my favorite books was like The Gilded Crown. And this year, the second book in that duology came out. And I read the book. Oh my, it was so good. It was perfect. Like absolutely perfect duology. Like just wonderful. And like finishing the book and like being like walking away, like literally like ugly crying, like on the ground, being like, I could not ask for like anything more from a book, from like a series. It was just really like just oh, I was like, God, I love reading. I was like, God, I love reading so much. I was like, I'm in so much pain. I was like, I'm in so much pain. David was like, are you okay? And I was like, no. But like just feeling like, oh my, this, I was like, this is why I go through all those bad books.
To get to
Kinda,
the
yeah,
treasure.
though.
Yeah. Yes.
I was like, this is why. I was like, I'll never stop. No matter what. I'll read Pamela 2 more times, not 100. 2 more times, I'll have that in me. But, yeah, it's just really like when it hits, it hits. Yeah.
It really is kind of like chasing a high. Like you're always looking for that next thing that is just going to completely floor you. I really do think I had that several times this year, which I count myself very lucky for. That there were several times this year I read things that I was just like, this is absolutely outstanding. And I'm so glad that I exist in a time where I get to read this. Like,
Yes, exactly.
It's such a good feeling. Looking forward, I'm going to ask 2 questions that are sort of about heading into the new year. And one of them is a question that I feel like every time I've ever been on a podcast or in some kind of interview, people ask this question and I don't know how to answer it. So I'm going to ask all of you,
Great,
what are
thank
your
you.
romance predictions for the new year? What do you think is going to be trending? What do you think is going to be happening in the romance world? Do you think there's going to be any big shifts, any big changes, any big things that are going to happen? Anything in the new year romance-wise?
I don't predict that we're going to see any big shifts. I think that we are having a lot of conversations right now about, and we have been for at least a couple of years now, about like when romantasy will be over. I don't think it's yet. I think we've been having a lot of conversations about yearning and bringing yearning back into romance, but I don't think we're going to be seeing any huge shifts there as well. I think heated rivalry right now is bringing in some like interesting parts into this conversation of what can be successful and like reinvigorating maybe sports romances and like talking about yearning and things that are very romance centric, because a lot of times, I don't know, there's a way that like in this book where there's a lot of like exterior stuff, like trying to prop up the book where romance should be the focus. But I don't think that we're in a position actually, like publishing moves so slowly that I don't think that any of this is going to have a real impact yet, especially because the things that are bad and that are working, there's like a way that like under edited, sort of like the mass produced feeling, sprayed edges, sort of things.
Is this a bad time to announce that in the new year we'll be sponsored by Red Tower? Should we not? Should we wait until the next episode? We are not being sponsored by Red Tower.
I was going to say it loud.
I would accept it. I would accept that Red Tower money.
I love under edited books, actually. Edit less. That's more
edit
spray.
less,
Spray the
please.
edges more and edit the book less. That's actually what I'm looking for.
Would it count if I just said, this is a book?
Yeah.
Like, would they accept that? Yeah.
So unfortunately, that model is still working. They like I think I was reading recently that like 75% of their titles sell over something like 100,000 copies, which is like unheard of. It is ridiculous. And so I just don't think that there is like a monetary reason to make any big changes right now in romance. So I think we're going to continue to see a lot of the same. What I do hope though is that means that maybe like indie published books, like self-published and small publishing houses, like take more risks and like actually hear like what's bubbling, what romance readers are starting to say and starting to want. And that's kind of where we'll see some of the things that are breaking the mold that will then eventually get acquired by traditional publishing, and that's how we'll see change
In 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, in 3 to 5 years. That's my prediction. It's a little dour, but that's what I'm thinking, and I would love to be proven wrong. I would love to be proven wrong on that one.
You said, haters, prove me wrong, please.
Edit your books, show me I'm wrong.
And they're like, no thank you.
We are getting more sports romance for sure. There's been F1 romance has been trending a little bit more for next year. A lot more fan fiction being traditionally published. We have a 5 Seconds of Summer movie coming out based on a fan fiction. I'm trying to think of like, I heard knights are back in romance. That's fun.
Yeah.
To your point, Lizzy, I think probably the thing that my prediction and that I think we would see in the new year is I think we're going to see a lot more romance books getting movie deals.
That's what I was gonna say.
I think especially now that we're seeing, I mean, heated rivalry, sure, but then with Wuthering Heights just around the corner and people we meet on vacation, that one Colleen Hoover movie that looks just like everything else she makes is coming out.
There's another one?
the beginning of him, the day that we met on the, I don't know, the reminders of him. Is that what it's called?
I believe you. I was like, okay.
The beginning of the day that I met him.
I was gonna go tomorrow and talk about, like, I would have said in that video, the beginning of him at the end of the.
That is, I think we're going to see more of that. Like, I think people are more and more and more and more looking for escapism, and romance and rom-coms and romantic movies are one way of, like, one pretty big genre of escapist films that I think is like has kind of fallen off the map, and I feel like it is prime time for it to make a comeback right now. Like, I really think we're going to start seeing a lot more. I don't know that there'll be rom-coms necessarily, though I would love if like classic rom-coms came back in like a new form.
Yes.
I mean, I love like a 90s, like early 2000s rom-com. Like,
yes.
Find Meg Ryan, dig her up, throw her in. I'm ready for it. But I think we'll probably see like more like darker romance being put on the screen, or just like I just think people want some hope, and love is very hopeful. So I think we're probably going to see more of that in the coming like year or 2 years.
I was going to say the same thing. Not about hope. I think that's, that
has run its course.
Kidnapping.
Okay. I think there's going to be a lot of like really dark romance, so people could be like, you know what, this is okay. I'm living in hell, but it could be worse. Something to compare to, which historically, we don't have to go through that. A lot of the time, well, anyway, when there are like really bad things like happening, like a lot of the times, like horror and like things like that do. Like there's an uptick. Yeah, dystopian. There's an uptick in those kind of things. So, yeah, so I think that we might see like an actual uptick in like dystopian like romance, sort of like, like, okay, like that's what I think might like really like get a hold. Like
we're gonna get a lot of really badly written dystopian romance.
Correct.
Oh,
it's already starting. Yeah. It's already starting.
Isn't that what Silver Elite was? Like really badly written dystopian
and
romance.
More recently, Conform. If you guys have not heard about that, yeah.
Let's talk about Conform. Tell me. I'm gonna look that up after this because I couldn't force myself to read Silver Elite. But I think we're gonna get like quite a lot of that. I think we're gonna get some really bad like dystopian romance, but I think we're also gonna get some really good dystopian like romance too.
Hopefully.
God, that'd be so good. And
from
then,
Red Tower, our sponsor.
I recently read a trilogy from Red Tower because they did 5 Broken Blades, right? Like that's from them.
Yeah.
I recently read that trilogy, and I really enjoyed it, despite the fact that I knew the entire time I was reading it how messy and bad it was. And the whole time, I kid you not, the whole time I was reading it, as I read it, Mari's voice was in the back of my head, and I was like, oh man, Mari would hate this so much. And like I knew it was bad, and I even talked about that in my review. I was like, this is a mess. This is like weirdly written. It's weirdly plotted. The characters are crazy. I couldn't even tell you what time period this is in, because there's like one girl, they're like trying to survive, and she's like worried about losing her heel like in the river. Like things are crazy. But I still had such a good time.
I don't think they're like, this is going to be a hot take, but I think it's fine if a book is bad. Like, I don't care.
I totally agree.
I don't want you to try to tell me that book is good.
Correct.
Like, don't convince, like, because it can be bad and you can enjoy it, and that's like perfectly fine. And there are so many bad books that I enjoy, but like, don't come in my face and tell me that with my own eyes, where
in these trying times in this economy, you're gonna come play in my face and tell me
exactly. It's like, what are you doing right now? Like, no, are you like, you're trying to gaslight me into thinking no. Anyway, but so I'm glad you had a good time, Jaysen.
I did. And I think
I
think I especially, I made videos about all 3 of those books, because I think it's important to acknowledge that it's okay to read something that's not great, not super well executed, but still enjoy it, because so many people have it in their head that if they enjoyed something, that equates to it being like critically really good. Yeah. And I think it's important to differentiate those things, that like something can be critically incredible and you might hate reading it. Something can be critically terrible and you might love reading it. And those 2 scales are different scales, and sometimes they line up, but a lot of times they don't. And I think it's more important to talk about that, because I think a lot of people don't realize that. They think if I liked it, it was really good. And that's not always the case, because writing is actually a craft. Like, it is like an art form that has like rules and structure and like things to it. And people are just like, this was fun. So it was good, and I need us to brain on. I want all books should be brain on books.
I feel like that is like part of the project going on here. It might be a little bit. I mean, we joke about the comments. You all have been lovely. Thank you so much for watching and commenting.
Thank you for watching. I'm sorry we yell at you.
Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
You're all so pretty.
You're all so pretty. But I feel like when people get frustrated with us or like, the comments are a little spicy, it's because we're sitting here differentiating between these things. Like we're reading classics. And I think that a lot of times we can sit back and go, I understand the impact that this had.
Yeah.
I understand why this is a classic. Did I personally enjoy reading this? No. Or with something like Good Spirits, where it's like we all had a great or good or fine time reading it. Is it very good? No. So you can have like those two conversations kind of informing each other. And none of that means we don't like reading. We do love you guys, though. Just keep that in mind.
Love you so much.
Yeah. That's why we tease. If we didn't love you, we wouldn't say these silly things we do. So there you go.
That's our love language.
I'd be meaner.
Yeah.
Which may be shocking to many of you.
All right, my last question for you. So the prediction question, I think I asked that because I think a lot of us, we have darker predictions. We do think there's still going to continue to be some trouble in publishing, and we're going to continue to see a lot of things that we don't love seeing. But I wanted to ask something a little bit more hopeful for our final question. So what is on your Christmas wish list? What is on your Christmas reading wish list? So if you had a magical list for Christmas, for next year, it's really like a New Year's wish list of things that you want in the new year from reading. This can be for your personal reading. This can be from the world of reading. It can be from the world of online literature discussion. Whatever you want, you can write on this magic piece of paper for a wish into the new year for reading for you. What might that be?
Electo the Ninth.
Oh.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm done with Electopause. Electo the Ninth needs to be delivered.
That's it. That's all I want for Christmas. Next year for Christmas, like any year, it's fine. I'll give up all my Christmas wishes for that. And I'm not.
We don't even have a cover yet.
Please.
I don't think we're getting it next year.
Stop. I don't think so either.
You said I could wish for anything, and then you
okay, you're right. I'm sorry. In the spirit of the question, yes, you could.
Except for you, Niah.
I'm sorry. You're right. I asked that question and immediately was like, well, let's be realistic.
It's not going to be Electo.
You said go ahead and wish for world peace, girl.
That's been a little too much.
Wow. Okay.
I thought you were going to wish for like an end to misery throughout the world, not Electo the Ninth. Like, crazy.
I didn't know we were being judged for our wishes. Okay. I mean, I guess, and all that other stuff too.
I just want good paranormal romance. I'm sure there's a lot, but after reading this, it made me realize how much I missed a good ghost romance. And one with an ending that's different than either they can't be together, that bittersweet ending, which is fine, or the one of them's actually in a coma.
How weird do you want it to be, Lizzy? Like real weird, or like what's like on a scale of 1 to 10?
You?
I'll get you. I'll get you. I'll get you later.
Like an 8.
Well, like I mean, we'll talk about it offline. I don't think it'll be after dark.
The Panelists after dark.
I mean, knowing what the Panelists is, I can only imagine what an after dark episode. Eventually, we're going to have to cover dark romance, though, and that will be a day.
Can we have a guest if we do dark romance? Like that would be fun. No.
It's just me railing against dark romance.
That was like a visceral reaction. Mari wasn't even ready to say no, but her body said no. Like, wow.
So I can't get Electo. I can't get guest. What can I have?
World peace. I just
okay. All right, fine. I'll take it. I mean,
I feel like if we, along the lines of paranormal romance, and if also people want to bring back dystopian, the thing I actually want to see is urban fantasy. Give me those like
Mm.
90s, early 2000s without the problematic stuff. Like
Yeah.
bring that stuff back. Give me good, juicy urban fantasy. I feel like the romantasy girlies actually long for urban fantasy. And so if we could just like revive that subgenre, I would be in heaven. It is my comfort subgenre. I love it so much and I would love to see more of it. Like, you know, getting a little facelift.
I am starting to see more and more cozy sci-fi peeking into the world of books. I'm starting to see more and more of them get published, and I'm starting to see covers come up where people are like, oh, this is coming out soon and it's cozy sci-fi, and I want more of that. I feel like I love cozy fantasy, but I feel like a lot of them are starting to blend together to me. They all are starting to kind of like feel a little samey. And so I think cozy sci-fi would be a nice like turn into something a little bit different. I'm also kind of on a sci-fi kick right now, so I just love the idea of cozy sci-fi. One of my favorite books of all time is a prayer for the not a prayer for the crown
Wild.
a psalm for the wild bill.
Yeah,
Thank you. That I was like thinking of the sequel, but I mean they're basically one book. It's basically two novellas that make one book. But a psalm for the wild bill, one of my favorite books, and that is a cozy sci-fi book, and I would love to see more of that type of story, like cozy science fiction, and that also is kind of like dystopian. So maybe we'll get cozy dystopian as well. Nothing says cozy like dystopia. But I also feel like, as a prediction, I think cozy horror is going to be big in 2026. I can like feel it in my bones. I think I've seen so many books announced recently that are like coming in 2026. Cozy horror. I feel like that's going to be a big thing. And also on my wish list, which I feel like I've said this multiple times, but I just want to see more critical discussions in the online bookish space. I think we're starting to see it more, or at least I'm starting to see it more.
Was unrealistic. Okay.
But like more, I know it, you know, it exists a lot on YouTube, and obviously that's because videos there can be longer, but I want to see more of it on TikTok and Instagram, and I want to see more people having like actual discussions, whether they loved it, whether they hated it. I want to see more people talking about it, talking about the craft of writing, even if we have completely different opinions, even if I'm like, wow, you're so wrong about how you like perceive that book. I want more discussions. I want less aesthetic and, oh, it was just a fun time. I want like, dig in. Tell me why. Why did you love it? Why did you enjoy it? Why did you hate it? Like, I want more of that. I always want more of that. I probably won't get it, but that is my reach for the stars wish list.
Yeah. I guess if I can't have Electro and I can't have World Peace, that would, because that's the fun part. It's really, really fun when, like, even if people like disagree with you, I want you to disagree. I want to talk about like why we disagree, and I want to talk about why we agree. I want to like dig into it, because like that's what makes it fun for me, you know, and having those kind of nuanced like conversations and getting people to admit that I'm right, you know, that to me is really
what I really want is to argue with people until they admit that I'm right. Like that's what that's what Niah just said.
I want a really divisive book on this podcast, because I think for the most part we've all sort of been in the same like feeling with the books. I want to see if there's one that completely divides us.
Let's find one.
I'm sure we'll hit something eventually. I mean, it'll be Twilight. No, I don't think it will be Twilight. I think we'll all be pretty aligned on Twilight.
Yeah.
We'll get there eventually. Something will happen. I mean, you all hated Pamela, but I thought that was a good time. I don't know what you guys' problem with it was. I said there could be more kidnappings actually in this book. Oh my goodness. And that is our Christmas episode.
We should have had jingle bells. We should have had like bells to be like
ring a bell every time someone says kidnapping. Let's talk a little about what is coming up next for the panelists. We talked about this on our last episode, but just to reinforce, our next book that we're going to be reading is The Flame and the Flower by Kathleen E. Woodwiss. It is heralded as the first like bodice ripper. It is very prolific in the romance genre. As I build our list and like kind of decide what we're going to read, I look through a lot of different lists of like most important romance books or romance books in history that were like very prolific and things like that. And The Flame and the Flower is on every single solitary one. It's as present on these lists as something like Pride and Prejudice. So I'm very excited to read that. In February, we are going to be at Love Y'all in Atlanta, Georgia from February 13th to the 15th. A couple of us are going to be hosting some panels, but we are also going to be recording a live episode of the podcast there. It's going to be our first time ever doing that. So that could be crazy. So you're going to love y'all.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. We would love to see you there. And I think it's going to be a great time. I think we're just going to have such a fun, silly, goofy time. So we would love to see you there. That's February 13th to the 15th. And that is sort of what we have on the horizon for next up on this show. And of course, before I sign us all off, I do want to say, happy holidays. Hopefully, if everything went well and nothing horrible happened, this episode was posted on Christmas, which means that I hope you're we're recording it before Christmas, obviously, and hopefully
if
it gets
not
posted
up
on Christmas.
then check in on us. Maybe
Then you know
call
something better.
911.
Or more like, or something technically probably happened. So that is what I mean more is like, as long as there's no technical difficulties that cause horribleness to happen. This should be up on Christmas. And so happy holidays. We hope you have a lovely Christmas, Hanukkah, or anything else that you celebrate. And we hope you have a wonderful new year as well. All the wonderful holidays in the winter time. Now, before we go, I'd love for everybody to let people know where they can find you wonderful people on the internet. Really? Now a question?
I know. I want to ask what they want to
please.
see from the I want to ask what they want to see from us in the new year.
Oh, that's a great question.
Like, what do you want to see? Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great question. Going to the new year, what is your Christmas wish list for yourself, obviously? Like, please leave that in the comments. Let us know what you would like to see in the new year. What's your bookish Christmas wish list or bookish New Year's wish list? But also, what are you hoping to see from the panelists in the new year? What books do you hope we cover? What do you hope we talk about? Any of those things, let us know. That's a great question, actually, Niah. I'm going to let you ask questions more often. Okay, whoa.
Oh, calm it down.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Don't get revoked immediately.
I know. God, I can't let them see you happy. I got it.
Right. So where can they find you guys on the internet? Niah, please.
You told me I couldn't ask questions. I got scared. All right, I can answer them. I can't ask them. Okay.
Yes.
I'm at Novel Niah everywhere.
My homepage is at mareas.binarybooks.com, and you can find me all over social media at My Name is Marinés.
I'm at Bumblebeezus on TikTok and YouTube, and Beezus Books on Instagram.
And at the North Pole.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Claus.
With me.
At Mrs. Claus at the North Pole. You can find me at my homepage, easycat.binarybooks.com. And also you can find me everywhere on the internet at easycat. Thank you so much for joining us. Please let us know what you thought. Have you read Good Spirits? And what did you think of the book? Did you enjoy it? Or did you hate it? Let us know. We'd love to know. What are you planning to read in the new year? What is on your bookish Christmas wish list? We would love to know that as well. You might be watching this on YouTube, or you might be listening to us on Apple or on Spotify. Wherever you are listening to it, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, leave a rating if you are listening to the podcast on Apple or Spotify. That is a great way to support us. If you liked it, if you liked it, please leave a rating. If you didn't like it, there are lots of other podcasts that you could, and you know, there's lots of ghost men in the sea, and that also applies to podcasts. So that is what we discovered. And if you are interested, you can, regardless of where you're listening to this, you can watch the podcast in video form on YouTube, or if you prefer to listen, we are on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. So that is where you can watch and or listen to this podcast. And if you really want to help us, you'll do all three. You'll watch it and you'll listen to it twice on different platforms. Do it or else. No, I'm kidding. That's too much. I wouldn't even do that. That's crazy. Thank you so much for watching our special holiday episode, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of the new year.
Bye.
Bye.